Alrighty, guys, we're back. Happy Power, newest episode. It's been a little while since we've done one, right? A couple weeks. We were cranking them out for week after week. We were doing 2 a week for a while, and then we kind of fell off. But I'm glad that we have Joey from Fuel Hunt on. I'm excited. I feel like this one could be a little more business oriented. Also, touch on some of like the MMA world you're heavily involved in. I'm excited because obviously we were just talking. UFC is all I give a fuck about right now. Like, I'm done with all other sports. I'm a retired football fan, straight up UFC at this point. So
I'm the
thanks
same
for
way.
coming on, man.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to be here, talk about the Fuel Hunt movement, talk about UFC. Very grateful to be here, man. Thank you.
And you're a local Philly guy?
I am, yeah, born and raised, and now I'm in. So I moved throughout the city, North Philly, Northeast Philly. We were talking about that before we kicked off here, but now I'm in Fairmount.
Nice.
Like 2 blocks from the art museum.
Yeah.
So it's a nice area.
Yeah. So we kind of got linked up through BK. You guys have seen BK on the podcast before, and usually one of our main characters in our YouTube vlogs. But he got us linked up, and Joey's coming from the Fuel Hunt brand, co-founder, right? You and your cousin, I believe.
That's correct. Yeah, my cousin Drew. Yep.
Yeah. And when did you guys kick off the brand? Like, just give our audience like a little background on the brand.
Yeah, sure. So in 2017, Drew and I were spending pretty much every day on the phone after our work days, on our commutes home. And we knew we're very like-minded. We had similar work ethics, so we knew we wanted to do something together, but we just didn't know what it was yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we found ourselves like often commiserating about some of the trends we were seeing in society: entitlement, lack of hard work, victim mentality, things that are very prevalent in today's society. We would commiserate on it a lot, and we felt alone. Like, honestly, we were just like, look, is there anybody out there that believes in hard work like we do? And that was kind of the birth of the movement. I'm a bow hunter. So we have a saying at my cabin: everybody wants to eat but fuel hunt. Yeah. So I said that to Drew, and he was like, we should put that on a shirt. Yeah. And then it kind of just started from there. You know what I mean? But the first couple of years of Fuel Hunt really were spent building community, like looking for those other individuals that believed in hard work, that refused entitlement and didn't want to be victims. Like, I would say probably the first 2 years, that's what it was. Damn. And then our community members started asking for apparel. Yeah. And saying like, hey, your words that are on your blog or on your, Instagram account, we want them on shirts. We want to wear them. We want to represent. And then that's how the apparel business started. Yeah. But that wasn't the intention initially. Like, the tees that we made initially were just like for all of us to wear, to rock. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
that's cool. I mean, that's kind of like something similar that happened with like Power Build. I was doing the personal training thing. I just called it Whitney Strength Performance. I'm like, it was just me. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, Whitney Strength Performance. That sounds cool enough. Yeah. But then eventually it got to the point where like, all right, I like grew a pretty good clientele, and they wanted all these like Whitney Strength Performance shirts. I'm like even me, I'm like, I don't know, this shit's kind of lame. Like, I'm like, I mean, there's like no real brand there. It's like you're supporting me, which I loved, and it was amazing. Like, we had an awesome team. We still have an awesome team. But then I kind of was like, I feel like I can do something with more branding, better branding. So then the Power Build thing kind of came about. And it was also, I was looking at, I was like, damn, I'm getting swamped with clients. How do I continue to kind of expand what I'm doing? So I did the same thing. I created like a membership website that provided training and content. And then the Power Build brand, the Power Build brand came after kind of creating the Power Build community. Sure. So I think that's awesome. And I always kind of tell people that too, like, and I'm sure you get it. You have you're like an apparel brand. I feel like now it's like I see it more and more. And I bet people are like, oh, like I want to start my own brand and this and that. But you didn't even start with the apparel. You started with the community and building a brand around community. Exactly. And then the product came after that.
Exactly. I mean, building the brand around, what we wanted to see, the change that we wanted to make in the world. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like you were saying, you had the, the Whitney strength, people still wanted to wear the shirts because, you were changing them, and they wanted to represent that feeling and that power you were giving them. And it's no different than, what happened with Fuel Hunt. I love the Power Build brand, by the way. So
awesome.
If that's your brainchild and the design, I love it.
Hell yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I feel like it was same thing. It was kind of an organic evolution of like my own training and then my clients training. And then I feel like that's kind of the way you want to go about it, is like, as you guys were having the conversation, changing kind of some of like the mentality of how a lot of the new age kind of the entitlement, everyone wants a shortcut. There's got to be an easier way.
Yep.
You know, tell me how to do it quicker.
I want it now. I don't want to go through the pain and the suffering.
Yeah.
I just want it now.
They want the end result without any of the work.
Microwave it. Let's go.
Yep. And it's like, you know, with Instagram, so, you know, not to say you don't blame them, but you can almost see how it's starting to get ingrained in some of these people's minds. Like, everyone has everything right away now. It's like everyone wants a cool car. They're taking the picture with them sitting on the hood of their car. Like, and you're just like, well, it looks like they did it quick. Why can't I do it quick? And then they look for shortcuts and kind of miss out on, you know, kind of laying the groundwork. So
we take pride in being like anti-establishment on Instagram. You know what I mean? Like standing against all that stuff. Yeah. But you're right. It's brainwashing folks. You know what I mean? And they're starting to think. The thing that's missing from social media is context. That's the thing that's missing. 100%. Like, you know, there's you know, the follower count is valued, you know, the amount of likes you get is valued, the amount of comments you get is valued, and that's it. There's no context, there's no behind the scenes. Is it their car or is it not? Yeah. How long do they have to work to get that car? Is it rented? You know what I mean? Do they just pass it in a parking lot? Like, there's no context. But somebody sees it and they're like, that person's my age, they're from my zip code, they look like me. Why don't I have that? They got it so quick, I can do the same thing. It's not the way the world works. It never has. Yeah. And then when people like yourself are kind of saying some of your mottos and kind of slogans, I feel like they almost like don't believe it sometimes. You know, there's definitely the big group that does, and obviously those are kind of the following that you want. Yep. But then other people, they're like, nah, there's a shortcut. Like, and I mean, with everyone wanting their own brand, I'm just like, instead of trying to like figure out what brand you can start, how about you just kind of do something you're passionate about and let it evolve into, maybe it turns into a brand someday. But like, I feel like the brand doesn't come before the work, or like the brand doesn't come before you having like a true passion, something that you can provide value in. Exactly. There you go. It always comes down to the value aspect. So it absolutely does. I mean, that's the thing that I think most people are missing. Like you're saying, do something you're passionate about, do it long enough until you figure out how you can take that thing to make other people better or provide value to other people. Then you have a brand or a product or a movement or whatever. People are coming in and they have the outcome in mind, you know what I mean, and not what it takes to get there. Yeah. So yes, social media is tough, man. I have a love-hate relationship with it, if I'm being honest. No, 100%. You know what I mean? I love it because of Fuel Hunt, the community, and it's a tool. It's like anything 100%. Else. It's there to be used. If Instagram wasn't there, we wouldn't have the community. Yeah. So I'm grateful for it, but I do have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with it. No, yeah. It's I feel like it's a necessity in kind of today's world. Yeah. You know, at least as far as a business goes. But it can very easily kind of hinder personal or professional progress. Like if you let it become a negative, it can become a negative really quick. Yeah. So a big thing that I've always kind of thought, and I kind of like curious is your perspective or view, and I've like been guilty of this in the past, is I even look at not necessarily like kind of personal things that I see, like cars. Like I don't give a fuck what car somebody drives. I really don't. This and that, cool shoes, like. But I do look at like kind of other businesses or like you know, other gyms, other fitness brands, and like I kind of see where they're at. And sometimes I would find myself, not as much anymore, but like early on, I would definitely kind of look and almost change some of the things that I was doing to maybe like mimic what they were doing, when that's not the way to do it. You got to stay in your own lane. As soon as you kind of start trying to be like somebody else, you're going to lose yourself kind of. You're going to lose the brand. You're going to lose the values that you envisioned, you know, the brand always having. Did you ever fall into that, or did you? Early on we did. Yeah. We did too. I think, and it was the same thing. Like we were looking at other people in our space, and we were always big on competing with ourselves. Like that was always the thing. And some people say that like, oh, I compete with myself, because they're really afraid to lose. Yeah. We're not afraid to lose. I mean, look at all the risks we've taken. Yeah. We're not afraid to lose, but. So when we say we were in competition with ourselves, we really meant it. But early on, yes, we were looking at, you know, some other brands, and we're like, man, how'd they get a warehouse that big?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
We're doing the same exact thing. And you're right. It took our eye off the ball. It took our eye off. Well, first of all, it took our joy. We were having a fucking blast. I can curse, right?
Yeah.
We were having a fucking blast building the Fuel Hunt community. And when you start to get in that comparison mindset, it takes your joy. It takes your joy away from what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it started to take the joy, and then it started to take our progress because we weren't being ourselves. We knew the unique value that we had to provide to the community and the world, and we started trying to do some things that they were doing, and it was a dead end.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I think that's a natural thing. Like when
Yeah.
you're in the process, it's this natural thing.
100%.
But
I
people
think
get stuck there though.
no, yeah.
Like people get stuck there, and
It derails them altogether.
Yep.
And I think the key is just being able to identify you are like straying off course a little bit.
Yep.
And then just being like, nope, get right back. So, and
Yeah,
I
yes.
had to remind myself, like even daily now, like just like I know what the vision is. Just continue to execute the vision, like
Yep.
power build vision.
Yep.
And then what do you know? Like positive results continue to come. As soon as we're on track and focused, the results continue to come in.
Exactly.
As soon as you stray even a little bit, you can kind of feel like a little bit of that derailing, and you're like, I got to get back. So
Yeah, you seem like a visionary. I'm a visionary. Like, you know, we're so rooted in the strong vision. Like, we know what 5 years looks like. We know what 10 years from now looks like for Power Build or for Fuel Hunt. And you're right. Like, you can feel it. When you start to drift, you're like, wait a second. What what's going on here? It's a funny feeling. You're like, wait a second. This isn't me. I'm letting the outside forces seep in, and I got to, you know what I mean? We're abundant, you know, we have an abundance mindset at Fuel Hunt. So like everybody in our space, you know, we support it. We want them to win too, but we're going to do us. I mean, that's how we've always been. That's how we're going to continue to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like, you know, a lot of the top brands, and regardless of what like category or, you know, which realm you're in, they tend to be doing that.
Yeah.
They kind of stick to what they do, and they do it really, really well.
Yep.
So,
yeah,
I mean, to kind of segue into, we were talking a little bit about the MMA thing, UFC. How did you decide? Because like I feel like nowadays another thing that's almost inevitable is you have to have like some type of influence on social media. So a lot of that comes with potential athletes, affiliates, stuff like that. How did you guys kind of decide? Because like I feel like Fuel Hunt, like anyone can resonate with that. Like when I first seen like the shirts, I think honestly it was probably from BK.
Yeah.
Shout out to BK.
Yeah.
But he
Love you,
I feel like even me, I was like, damn, I like that. Like immediately I was just like, I like that.
Yeah.
I was like, then that's literally what sparked the conversation. I was like, what's the Fuel Hunt thing? And he's like, oh, my buddy has a brand, blah, blah, and like left it at that. But then I started seeing the shirts more. There's a couple of the other gym members that started rocking it. And I like started digging a little deeper. I'm like, I like it. You know what I mean? It's
Appreciate
like,
that, brother.
I feel like if you have that mindset, it's going to click.
Yep.
But what led to, it seems like, and maybe, I don't know, maybe you guys have other athletes and affiliates in different areas, but it seems like MMA, like I see the Sean Brady,
Yep.
and
Doc's
he's obviously a big one. Yeah, Doc's brothers.
Hurricane Shane.
Yeah,
Burgos.
Shane Burgos, yeah.
I mean, we have a bunch of women and men in mixed martial arts that love the brand, but more so our mindset. When we first started out, we started getting traction in the CrossFit world, actually. You know, we were in a lot of boxes, our flags, our shirts, and a lot of boxes like nationwide, and that's where we started getting some traction. Then after that initial traction, actually MMA came to us. You know, Drew was friends with Sean, and the Dawkins brothers are family to me, so they were already in our social circles, and they were rocking Fuel Hunt, big supporters, and they came to us and they were like, what about rash guards? You ever want to do rash guards? And we're like, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we didn't really seek it out. It kind of came to us, and it's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey. I got started in jiu-jitsu. Drew got started in jiu-jitsu, changed my life, changed his life. It's been awesome.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah.
I feel like, in MMA, it definitely, I don't know if you could have found yourself falling to a better sport. Like,
I agree,
this perfect, goes hand in hand.
I agree.
You
Some
guys,
of the hardest workers in any sport.
100%. Yeah.
We were talking a little bit about business and, you know, getting kicked. and then getting kicked while you're down, and then coming back and being relentless with it. I mean, that's fighting too.
Yeah.
Right? Like literally getting
literally,
kicked,
yeah.
getting punched. You know what I mean? So
Damn.
they sync with the mindset perfectly.
Yeah.
Fuel on mindset perfectly.
Damn. Yeah. And I know you're kind of, getting in a little bit of the powerlifting scene. Obviously, BK, he's in like an affiliate or athlete with the brand.
Yep.
You guys have actually shot a video here. David, you did that, right?
Yep.
David did the little video for you guys, and I would imagine that's probably like a good market for you as well. Like the powerlifting, I mean, kind of a similar mindset. Like it's fucking, you got to grind. It's gonna beat you down.
Yep.
But like, you just have to kind of stay on it and just keep pushing forward. There's gonna be injuries. There's gonna be setbacks, and
it's gonna be a slow, heavy struggle. At times to pull forward. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I mean, this is powerlifting's a certainly a market for us. I was a powerlifter back in the day. Like I said, now I'm in the jiu-jitsu world, a little different now. Different focus for me now. But, my family's also in powerlifting. And that's how I met BK.
Yep.
From the gym that we were at, probably almost been 10 years ago now.
Damn.
Yeah. So, but yeah, great. And we're very grateful for, David and the ability to do this here with your people.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, it
we'll
was
do
fun.
more together.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. What was I going to say? That's another thing I wanted to bring up because I seen you guys did the podcast with Bedros.
Yes.
And I was like, damn, it's just interesting how like some things kind of like come full circle in a sense. But one of the guys that I used to watch YouTube videos of was Bedros way back. This is like as I was like just getting like personal training and online training kicked off. He was like the dude. Like he was like one of the only guys at the time that I could like find that was kind of making content for like trainers.
Even on YouTube.
Yeah, he was YouTube. Yep. Just at that point, straight up like whiteboard, just writing out
with the long hair.
Long hair.
Yeah. He is an absolute OG.
Yeah, I was gonna say like how did that relationship form and
relationship's the key word, right? So we have a friend in the Fuel community, Noah. He owns Stars and Stripes Company. They're in Oklahoma. They make hand-carved American flags, right? The best ones in the U.S. Maybe I'm a biased party, but they're the best. I got a couple of them hanging in my house and one in my cabin. So he was going out to deliver a flag, hand-deliver a flag to Bedros.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, this guy, he would definitely love your shit. So can you just send a package to me? I'll include it with the flag. We'll go from there. I was like, that's great. Thank you so much. Because like I said, he's the OG in your space, really, right? So about a year and a half went by. And we didn't hear anything. And we're like, that's cool. We that's the other thing we've never been is like thirsty. We've never not been DMing Bedros and saying, oh, can you put it on and tag us? Like, that's not how we do. What we did do was keep sending him shit. But we didn't really hear anything. Then he does this like massive keynote and he wears one of our tees and he tags us and a relationship started there. Like I just started talking to him. He was like, yo, I really love what you guys are doing. I love the message. Like I feel it in my bones. We talked back and forth for maybe a year, and then one random Saturday, I was actually in my basement, and I was designing a shirt for Shane Burgos for an upcoming UFC fight he had, and B sent me a DM, and he was like, look, man, he was like, if there's ever an opportunity for me to get involved in what you guys are doing, I'd love that. So I was like, fuck yeah, man, let's get on the phone. So we got on the phone. A couple days later, I flew out. I met his team out in Chino Hills at Fit Body Boot Camp's headquarters.
Yeah.
We broke bread, looked each other in the eye, shook hands, and he became partner in Fuel Hunt.
Dang.
Like that.
That's wild.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty wild. He is a dear friend, salt of the earth, very talented human being. As you know, I mean, you were in his archives, man. You've been rocking him for a while.
Literally, like we're going back. It has to be like 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like even the videos that I was watching of him were a year or 2 years old. Like, so these were, I don't even know how long ago he did these, but they honestly like made a huge impact and were like some of the key things that I focused on growing like my personal training, online training to the point where like, honestly, I probably owe the guy more than he knows. Like that's what literally led into like ended up working or managing a gym. Managing a gym led to like creating the PWRBLD brand because of like kind of the community I built through that. And then the PWRBLD brand ended up growing into a gym. And now there's 2 fucking gyms. And like, it's like one of the guys that like anything he does, I'm paying attention to because like he's like literally one of the people that kind of influenced me to kind of do all of this shit.
Sure. There's a lot of stories like that, man.
Yeah, I bet.
A lot of stories like that. He's touched, inspired, and helped many entrepreneurs scale, their businesses, and he is an absolute beast at what he does, and a great guy. Great guy.
Yeah, it seems it. Obviously, I'm only kind of looking from the outside in, but like everything he does seems genuine. You don't see just like there's just none of the bullshit. That's how you know. It's like not trying to sell anything. Like do this and you're gonna make this and none of that. It's just like the straight up. You're gonna get the truth whether you like it or not type deal. And
it's value first with him all the time. And even the first time I got on the phone with him to discuss what it would look like if B was involved with Fuel Hunt, he was like, look, man, like we're on the phone right now because you always came with the giving hand. He's like, you never asked me for anything over like almost 2 years. He's like, you never even asked me to like tag you in a post. I was like, bro, that's just not how I roll. Like I always come with a giving hand and I let things work out. You know what I mean? I put the work in and I let things work out. And he was like, that's why we're on the phone, because I can tell you're like my people. And then from there, like I said, it was a beautiful thing. He's actually going to come out in the fall to our HQ in Frankfurt.
Oh, really?
So when he comes out, I'll text you. I'll let you know when he's here. Maybe you can swing through and meet him.
Hell yeah. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, maybe swing through and
That'd
meet him.
be sick.
And we'll also be doing some we'll be doing an event, at least one event in 2023 out of that location. And he'll be coming in to speak too.
Nice.
So I'll make sure you get tickets to the event and you can come through.
Yeah, 100%, man. I'd love to just come check the place out too. It's always just interesting to kind of see different sides of like the business. Obviously, we're trying to like scale our apparel. It's like it was always kind of just like a little like whenever I had a client, I just gave him a shirt. Whenever we have somebody that signs up at the gym, I give them a shirt because I'm thinking it's value, right? It's marketing and it's value to them and us. And I feel like it's actually like one of the best things we've ever done. Like it's just helped kind of grow the brand. People see, I was just telling David, like people will be like, yeah, I was at Costco. There's like 2 people with PWRBLD shirts. I'm like, that's the coolest shit I ever hear.
Oh,
like,
that's awesome.
Nothing beats that. And, people are like, PWRBLD Gym. Like we are newer to the area. Like until 3 years ago, there was no such thing. So trying to get that brand recognition locally, that's like one of our biggest goals is I've tried to focus more so on like a local presence instead of, we don't. I don't need to be a worldwide brand. Maybe someday we are, and that's amazing. But like right now, it's like I want to develop that local presence, getting involved with like local schools, local law enforcement, all of that. That's kind of been like the big direction change. Like not direction change, but I guess like a focus of this year in particular. So
you own both locations, right?
Yep.
So no plans on franchising in the future.
I've recently had some discussions, like with my lawyer to kind of like get some info on like, all right, because I have had people reach out that are showing interest, like legitimate interest, and they seem like real.
The brand is strong. What you got going on here, the people here, like it's something special, man. So something to think about, I guess. But
no, for sure, it's.
B knows his way around that system.
Honestly,
so
he would really be the guy. Like I would love to be able to pick his brain and like, because he did it. Like he literally, that's what he did, right? The Fit Body Boot Camp. Like I don't know how many locations he ended up with, but
several, maybe like 500-600 worldwide.
That's crazy. That's nutty.
Yeah. Wow.
So a little bit different model, I know, but I do feel like there's the potential to kind of create something that's bigger than a local gym. You know what I mean? I do feel like just kind of our style and our model, the people that we target. Like I always tell people, I'm like, you guys know what Planet Fitness is? I'm like, we're the opposit. Like if somebody's like outside of the fitness world, that's kind of how I describe it. I'm like, you know how Planet Fitness is? I'm like, we're the opposite of that. We're for everyone else. Like, and that's kind of one of the things, like going back to like staying on target with who we are. Cause like there was a point where I was like, like you need members to pay the bills, right? So I'm like, how do we get more members? And you kind of start like trying to almost like appease a more general market. And it's just not us. Like it didn't work anyway. You
It's
know
like
what I mean?
that feeling, like, you know, when you're off the vision, like
Exactly,
we were talking about earlier,
yeah.
you get that feeling and you're like, something doesn't feel
Yep.
right. Yeah.
And then it's just like, so, you know, it did. The good thing is it didn't take me long to kind of realize I was kind of like thinking, I wasn't thinking correctly.
Yeah.
And then just double down on what we do. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
we don't need to have all the amenities in the world. Like, we don't need to, doesn't need to be I don't know, like a country club vibe. Like,
Sure.
I don't want that. Like, that's not who we are. That's not the people
You
that
know your
walk in
people.
here. Yeah.
You know your people. You know what they
So,
want. You know what I
It's
mean?
got to stay focused and, you know, and that's what we do. So I do feel like, yeah, there's definitely a
There's
possibility of doing something bigger someday.
there's so much to, you know, knowing who you are, but also knowing who you aren't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, knowing what you're for and knowing what you're against. Sometimes knowing what you're against or who you aren't is actually will set you on a much more proper path than, you know, knowing what you're for.
100%.
So,
Very,
yeah.
very true. I feel like a lot of you guys listen to that. I feel like that is like a key statement in this podcast that will help a lot of people, because I feel like a lot of people are kind of tiptoeing, like maybe they're on this side, maybe they're on that side. And then whether it's personal or professional, I feel like you just end up kind of not knowing who you are. If you have a brand, you're not sure what type of brand you are. Like maybe the brand never becomes a brand because of those reasons as well.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, people, you know, especially nowadays, you know, they don't want to be, how can I explain it? Like, I'm a guy that lives in the gray, right? Like, you know, people will tell me I have to be A or B. I'm not picking sides. Like, I want to blaze my own trail. Like, I live in the gray. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a little bit of A, a little bit of B. Like, I know what I am, and I know what I'm for, and I know what I'm against. And it's the same thing with Fuel Hunt. You know what I mean? Like, we know who we are. We know what we're for. We know what we're against. We know our people are out there, and they'll find us as long as we continue down that path.
Yeah.
Or we'll find them and bring them in.
No, I like that a lot. That's, again, something I think a lot of people can kind of benefit from hearing, instead of like being pulled in every which direction sometimes. You know, just know who you are. Just know who you are and stay on that path. It's not going to be for everyone. You know what I mean? You might end up kind of, I don't know, some relationships may end, some friendships, some partnerships, but at the end of the day, you're going to know who you are. You're going to know what path you want to be on, and people who are also on that path are going to align themselves with you.
Exactly.
So I think that's the key, is having that same mentality. And it always comes down to what I always mess up the slogan, but what is it? It's like you're a sum of like your closest five friends or something like that.
5 people. Yeah,
I was talking with somebody else on the podcast about that. It's like so true. And when you even narrow down that group of people, that's when you kind of see the growth in yourself, and you can see yourself kind of leveling up in all aspects. So,
and that's where, like, you need to, that level up requires passion. And, like, you know, if you're borrowing other people's beliefs, or you're being a certain way because of this person or that person in your circle, you're living a life without passion or purpose. There's no way you're going to level up, because you're just bouncing around, you're drifting around, you're borrowing everybody else's thoughts, beliefs, everything like that. You know what I mean? So it's not easy, right? I mean, it's hard to blaze your own trail and stand for what you believe in, and lose some relationships, or have to edit or audit some relationships. It's difficult, but you know, if you want to live a life of purpose, it must be done. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah. A lot of distractions along the way, a lot of hurdles.
Yeah,
but,
for sure. For sure.
How we were talking about Bedros, like, he was obviously like a pretty big influence for me. Did you guys have anyone that like kind of like, you know, just gave you that little nudge to kind of like go the route that you went, or was it?
I think, we were just talking about this. We did, I don't know if you know Stu from What the Fuck Gym Talk. I don't know if you've crossed paths. I got to hook you up with him. He's a solid dude. We were just having this conversation on his show. I think Drew and I were really like there for each other.
Yeah.
Like during all the hard times, like when we wanted to quit, when things got really difficult, you know, during that early stage where we were comparing ourselves to other people, like we were there for each other and we balanced each other out.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I came to Drew and I was like, Drew, because we were working full-time jobs for, 3 years? Me, like 4 years? While we were building Fuel Hunt, it was a grind. Dude.
Yeah.
It was a grind because we were overachievers during the day. Mm-hmm. And we're parents. So then we had to come home, open a laptop, fire it up, grind some more. So, like, in moments where I was like, dude, this isn't going to work, man. This isn't going to work. He would balance me out. and he'd be like, come on, man, like, you know, we're committed to this, we know. And I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Or if, you know, he was comparing us to someone else, and he was like, oh man, I don't even understand, like, our shit's doper, like how they did it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, man, let's just keep with the vision, stay the course, keep pushing, everything's gonna be fine, you know. So we balanced each other out. I think that's, you know, really what it was. And our circles got smaller.
Yeah.
We let go of some people during that phase, because some people just didn't understand what we were doing. They didn't understand, like, you know, your little T-shirt brand that you're going to change the world. Like, they didn't get it.
Yeah.
And we had to leave them behind. And, you know, no disrespect or anything, but, you know, we just weren't on the same page.
Yeah.
So,
No, 100%. I feel like, you know, holding on to like those type of relationships or people, and that'll just kind of hinder everyone's progress anyway. You got to kind of know when to cut ties. Like, even just in like the gym setting, like there's been times we have to let people go. It's just not working out.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you're not able to kind of have the same mentality, the same vision, you know, even within a gym, it's like, this is a very small private owned gym. Like, if you don't see the vision, or if you're not kind of on path with me, like, I don't have the luxury of kind of like dragging somebody along. Right. You know what I mean?
Right. Respectfully, we part ways.
Respectfully, yeah.
Respectfully part ways, dude. I know that journey well, and even with the circle thing, like in personal relationships, there's so much focus on like who you need to cut out of your circle. Like, that's all I see on social media. Like, oh, cut this person. If this person's, you know, going out and binge drinking, cut them out of your circle. Cut them out. Here's how you do it. You approach them. You do this. I've always been the type that's like, I surround myself with like-minded people, and I just spend more time with them. And that's my boundary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then as time goes on, like, you know, people fall away that just aren't in line with, you know, your core values and beliefs.
Yeah. No, I'm that's exactly kind of how it's been. In business, it's a little
different because it needs to be done a certain way, but, you know, personally,
that's exactly kind of the same. That's, you just explained how it went for me too. It wasn't necessarily like I had to be like, I can't fuck with you anymore. It was just, aligning myself with the people that I did.
Spend more time with them.
And just, put my time and energy into those people. You know what I mean? Like, you only have so much energy, so you want to make sure you're putting it into the right people. I feel like that can be very understated. I mean, I feel like a lot of people, they struggle. You know, you see all this mental health and, you know, all this awareness for that. It's like, well, it kind of starts with you. Make sure you're helping yourself first. You know what I mean? Align with the right people. Don't give energy to people that aren't bringing good energy back. I don't know. Maybe a little cliche, but it will go a long way. It'll change everything.
Yep. And you can feel it when you do that. You know, when you're vibing with the right person and you're giving them energy and they're giving it back to you, it's a different type of feeling. It's a very different type of feeling. It's a very unique
There's
feeling.
A synergy.
It's right. There's a unique feeling there, and that's a signal that you're doing the right thing. You need to do more of it.
Yeah.
You know? Yep.
100%. Talk a little. We'll get into some fighting.
Yeah.
I feel like we got Sean Brady coming up on a monster fight.
Yep.
I'm just curious. Like, well, for one, how excited are you? Because I feel like that's huge. I mean, obviously just for Sean, but
biggest fight of his life.
Yeah, biggest fight of his life.
Long time coming.
Long time coming for sure. I mean, literally undefeated. One thing I like about him is, like, just again, this is outsider looking in. Like, I don't know him personally, but couldn't have picked like a better dude to like represent the brand. Like, I feel like the guy just kind of like fights, wins, says he wants to fight again, wins. Like, there's no bullshit. Like, he doesn't do anything for like clout. Like,
exactly.
Like, you got Chimaev, who, you know, I feel like the UFC's kind of intentionally kind of built him up, and he obviously has like some unique characteristics personality-wise and stuff like that, which they were able to kind of build off of. But like, Sean Brady's just as fucking scary. I don't know if people realize that.
Oh, yeah. And you hit the nail on the head. It's basically train, fight, win, train, fight, win, train, fight, win, and there's not much else outside of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kristen, you know, his dog, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's a cycle, and it's train, fight, win, and that's literally, dude is so fucking locked in, and he's a machine.
Yeah.
Machine. So his biggest fight of his life coming up, and I think it's going to be no different than what we've seen in the past from him.
Yeah, I'm excited. What do you think? I mean, getting a little bit ahead of, obviously, like, he's fighting Bilal, who's good, and he's been winning.
I mean, you know, nasty dude, too.
Got to be the toughest matchup, I would imagine. I mean, he's had some big fights.
Yeah.
But I feel like Bilal, he's got the grappling.
Yeah,
He's been on a win streak himself. Other than the eye poke with Leon, I don't know. Is that like a no contest?
I think it's no contest.
Yeah, no contest. So,
No
like,
contest.
he's been winning. I mean,
Sean,
what do you think's coming up, though? Like, let's say Sean wins.
Sean's just a different animal, man. He's
Yeah,
just a different animal. And I think that, within the next, 12 to 18 months, he's going to be the king of that division.
Yeah.
That's what I think is going to happen. I know it. I feel it in my bones.
I feel like what's Bilal ranked? He's top 5, right? Like, isn't he like 4 or 3?
3 or 4?
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
Sean's
3 or 4.
what is Sean now?
7?
So, I mean, I feel like,
7, I believe.
honestly, for both guys, it's hard to argue that whoever wins that fight isn't, like, in line for the title. You know what I mean?
Sean's gonna keep eating and keep running through the division. Like, he wants what he wants. And he wants to be at the top of that division. He wants that title, and there's going to be no like lollygagging and sitting around like you see some people lounging in other weight classes, lounging in the top 10 and sitting there. Ain't going to happen, man. He's going to keep running through till he gets to where he wants to go.
Yeah.
I love that about him.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it kind of goes back. Like, couldn't have picked a better guy to kind of represent the brand.
It was just like he picked us. We picked. It was just like we were talking that synergy thing, right? It was just that type of energy. Like Drew and Sean are close, and they have similar energy. They have similar work ethic, and that's how it happened. And then we were like, hey man, let's spin up a line for you.
Yeah.
Like let's just spin up a whole nother apparel line for you.
Yeah.
We did that. Like it was all natural because of the energy and the vibe between us.
Yeah.
So.
No, yeah, and a lot of that stuff, I love that. That's like the grit, right?
Yeah,
like,
grit and guillotines, yeah.
Grit and guillotines.
Yeah.
Sweet designs. Always like that too. Do you do the designs or do you have?
Yeah, so I do the design work, at least all the rough sketches, and then all like the mantras or the phrases, like that's all me. And then my right hand man, super talented, Vince. Shout out Vince. Avila, he takes my rough sketches. I got a little bit of illustration talent, you know what I mean? But he's the guy that takes my sketches and really like turns them into what you see on the shirts.
Nice.
Incredibly talented Philly guy.
Yeah.
Whose work I had been following for a few years, even prior to starting Fuel Hunt, just because I've always been into design. Like my background is in computer science programming.
Okay.
But I've always been like a designer at heart.
Yeah.
And when we started Fuel Hunt, I went right to him. I was like, yo, bro. Like, he drew our eagle. So we've been rocking with him. Like, he's our guy. We've been rocking with him since the beginning.
Cool. That's another thing I think people don't think about. You do start a brand, and it starts having some success. Finding good people to help grow the brand, probably the hardest thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, I feel like we've kind of assembled like a really good team, and I couldn't be like happier with like the people that we've found and the people that have come together. But even still, like there's always times we're kind of looking for some help in certain areas, and it's tough. It's tough to find good help. You know what I mean?
When you have core values like we do, like, I don't know what your core values are at PWRBLD, but I'm assuming that they're very similar to Fuel Hunt. When you have core values like we do in this day and age, it's hard to find people. Like you can find skilled people that are good at what you need them to do or asking them to do, but the real magic is when they also share your core values, when they believe in what you believe in inside these walls.
Yeah.
But it's hard to find
that
good
mentality.
people,
Yeah, and nowadays it's pretty rare. I mean, kind of your whole brand is kind of like that opposing group of the current entitled kind of like shortcut. Everyone wants the end goal right away. So
with counter movement, that's the way we look at it. We're going to hold the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's working because we're growing.
Yeah.
So we're just going to keep it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. Well, I feel like I don't want to take up too much of your time. I feel like it was really good discussion. I think people could take a ton away from this.
Absolutely.
The one thing actually before we kind of close up here, I wanted to talk about how you actually do have a partner. You have the co-founder, your cousin, right? Has that been tough, or has that been smooth sailing? Like, I feel like, a lot of times you hear some horror stories, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get this when I'm on shows, I get this question often. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Like, is it a bloodbath, running a 7-figure operation with your cousin type thing, like with family, family business? The answer is, in our instance, no. Drew knows my rough edges, and I know his rough edges. And again, we balance each other out. You know what I mean? So it's been great. It's really a family business. Brianna is Drew's sister.
Okay.
My cousin, obviously, also. And she runs operations.
Nice.
In the warehouse. And the other members of our core team are kind of like play cousins with Brianna. So, not blood, but like very good friends.
Yeah.
So we're a very tight-knit team. So now we're cool. We're so mission-focused. And we're so clear on the vision of restoring the dignity of hard work that the other shit just falls away. If I'm having a bad day and I'm rough around the edges, or there's a problem we're trying to solve and I'm rough around the edges about it, they handle me with grace. And because they're focused on the mission, and if they're having a bad day or going through something, I handle them with grace and we get through it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that's impressive. I think it's a lot of times probably making sure you're kind of, with the right people. And then obviously you guys are family, so although that can get a little dicey, it sounds like just knowing each other seems to be the key.
No,
I feel like with any team, friends, family, just business partners, like, when you kind of are with the right team, you guys kind of know each other well enough how to make it work and stay on goal with, the vision is the vision. If you're all focused on that, probably going to work out.
Yeah, the team is everything. I think I get that partner question a lot. Like I said, I think a lot of people, when they go in business, they bring on partners for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Maybe there's 2 or 3 key reasons why you would want a partner, like skill, money, strategic partner, maybe something like that, 3 reasons. I think a lot of people bring on partners because it's fucking scary, man. And they want somebody to like share the risk with. But that's the wrong reason to bring a partner on. You know what I mean? Like, either they're financially contributing to the operation to help you out, they're bringing a specific skill set, or they're positioned in the industry strategically with aligning with them will also advance your thing. So there's some key reasons, but I see a lot of partnerships happen just because, like, out of fear, really. I get that, because entrepreneurship is a scary game, dude.
There's been a few instances where I had like some discussions with people where it was like a possibility of like them coming on and, becoming a co-owner of some degree, or like, and a lot of it was kind of like, I don't know if it was, I guess it was a form of fear. Yeah. It was like, am I going to be able to like hold up financially? Like, there's all of these things I need to get done. I'm already like literally bleeding myself dry, energy-wise, financially, time, relationships like taking a hit, friendships I don't have time for, like family I don't have time for. And I'm like, man, like, do I try to lighten the load by bringing somebody else on? And like, those are, I feel like, valid reasons. But at the same time, like, the people I had those discussions with, I don't know. I don't know if it would have made sense. And I'm glad that I ended up opting not to, because like I realized I was able to kind of figure it out and get to at least this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I always kind of like say like double down on yourself. I literally just made like an Instagram post, like double down on yourself.
Absolutely.
And I feel like, that's, not to say that, because like you guys have made it work in one realm, like doing it with 2 people, having, your 2 co-founders, obviously. And like, I've kind of went the solo route. It's not to say that one versus the other is right or wrong. I think it just has to be the right, the right like mix. So
that synergy, man.
Yeah.
Like you probably spoke to those people and they probably had great intentions and would have added value, but there was something that was holding you back from saying like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And, maybe at different parts of the journey, and depending on what your goals are and your vision, maybe you'll be solo the entire time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Until you're a worldwide thing. Who knows?
Maybe, yeah. And that's the thing is like, I wouldn't rule it out, one versus the other. I think it's just going to have to be the right time, or it'll have to be the right fit.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, you summed up entrepreneurship perfectly.
Yeah.
I drained myself, financially. My relationships are taking a hit. I'm stressed out. I mean, that's what this game is, but we love it. You know what I mean? That's like, I love the game, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the scoreboard it feels great to win and I'm not shitting on winning. Like, it feels great to be where we're at and winning and in a winning season. But I love the game, man.
Yeah.
Like, I love the game of entrepreneurship, and I love the opportunity to, while I play that game, add value to people's lives. Like, that's my sweet spot.
Yeah.
Man. That's my sweet
Yeah, I
spot.
mean, it's all the blood, sweat, and tears are worth it when you know you're actually providing value, and then you're also seeing like the return of that value come back at you. So it's it's definitely you got to fall in love with the very tough process of it all.
Exactly.
And then I think you'll have success, you know? I think that's the key.
Yeah, man.
And that's another thing. It's easy to get off track, and there's times that I find myself kind of thinking like, you know, getting into that more negative mindset. You got to kind of recognize it and pull yourself out of it. Remember why you're doing it, you know, because there's going to be plenty of hard days, probably more hard days than good, I would say.
For
I don't know
sure, man. For sure. Yeah.
So.
The easy day, I can't even say there's an easy day. The good days, the hard good days, probably I got enough fingers and toes to count, like, in the span of a year, how many, like, really, like, you know, hard good days there are. Most of the days are hard, they're challenging, and you got to be built a certain way, man. You know, I always say, you know, you have to have a couple screws loose.
100%.
Like, because I'm saying that about myself.
No, yeah,
you know,
I agree.
You know, throwing yourself into the fire day in and day out when it's much easier to be, you know, an employee, you know, to be employed somewhere. In order to make that decision to throw yourself in the fire, you got to be a little crazy, I think.
I agree.
To do it.
100%. That's kind of one of the reasons you see so many people kind of come and go.
Yeah.
So many people never quite reach where maybe they wanted to get to. I mean, because it takes like a very unique mentality and understanding of the process and enjoying that unique process. So, to kind of end on one last question, I just am always curious because this one always gets me thinking, because I find myself like, obviously I have like a big vision, but I do try and keep it a little more, you know, short term. Like, I know that what I want to get done the day, the week, the month, the year. Sometimes when you get the question like, where do you see Fuel Hunt in 5 to 10 years? Like, how do you answer that? Or do you have that? Do you think in that length of time?
We do. So we think, so if you're familiar with Daily Attack Plan, that's a product we have. We didn't touch on it, but it's a product we have where you can, like, plan your day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, as it relates to your goals and your vision, right? So we kind of start, we plan at the day level. Like, so we know what the end of the day looks like for each one of us, and then we're 10 years out. So 10 years out, we're 100 million hard workers sold worldwide. You know what I mean? So, like, or I'm sorry, not sold T-shirts. 100 million hard workers in the community worldwide. So everybody would then ask me, well, like, what's the difference between a customer and a community member? Like, everybody's our community member. So we want 100 million customers in the community worldwide, regardless of what, you know, how many customers or how many T-shirts we've sold.
Gotcha.
So that's our 10-year vision.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have, you know, numbers behind that, like as far as how many team numbers we have and, you know, what our space looks like and, you know, the revenue that would support all that. But our key metric for 10 years out is 100 million hard workers.
Damn.
So, yeah. So you do the math, you know, we're a little over 100 now. You know, we're a couple years in.
Yeah.
So we got some work ahead of us, but that's how we like it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah. So we have, you know, and like I said, we have a 3-year plan too. You know, we have a 1-year plan, and then we'll go all the way down to, then we go 90 days and then all the way down to the day. So we run Fuel Hunt on EOS. I don't know if you're familiar.
No.
So Bedros actually put us on the EOS. There's a book, Traction, by Gino Wickman.
Yeah.
EOS is an entrepreneurial operating system. It's a system that he came up with to operate startups and businesses. So a lot of the planning tools that we use come from EOS. Yep. So yeah, Gino Wickman, and it's Traction is the book. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah,
check it out.
No, it's definitely.
So B put us onto that. We weren't running on EOS when we partnered up with B. He was like, look, I have with Bedros, I have one ask. It'd be great if you guys would do it. I'd appreciate it. Start running on EOS, and we were like, yeah, let's do it.
So is that like software that you guys just kind of?
It's a methodology, a process.
Okay.
So we run it in Trello. Some people use like Asana. Some people use Excel spreadsheets. Like you use whatever software behind the scenes, but it's a methodology for planning. So every 90 days we get together. We have a big leadership meeting. We set our 90-day rocks or our 90-day goals.
Yeah.
Quarterly goals essentially.
Yeah.
And that keeps us focused on vision. And it's a big thing. We get together for a day, sometimes 2 days, and go through all that planning. It's been one of our secret weapons.
Yeah.
So when I do shows, I like to mention it. A lot of people in the fitness space run on it, but I like to mention it because it's added so much value to us.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely check it out. I feel like that's always like something that I'm working on improving on is kind of planning, even just like organizing. You know what I mean? It's like when there's so many moving parts, sometimes you get stuck just trying to survive the day, and then you don't, you kind of miss out on maybe some of that, the growth that you could have if you do have a plan in place, organization and stuff like that. So that's always one of my things to improve on and continue to, build on. So
you can do it yourself, or you can work with an integrator. So we have an integrator that helps us, that facilitates our quarterly meetings with EOS.
Yeah.
It has been a game changer for us, man.
Yeah.
It's been a game changer for us, especially when you have a real strong vision. In the beginning, it's a little difficult, but it gets very easy to then step back from that vision and say, okay, that's what, this is what that vision looks like over the next 90 days.
Yeah.
And then plan it out all the way to 10 years. So yeah, highly recommend it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's good. First time I'm hearing about it. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's a little gem for the day. Yeah, man. So, again, don't want to take up too much of your time. I really appreciate you coming on, though. Maybe we can even link up again down the road. Be great to have you back. Maybe have Drew here as well. I know Brian wanted to be on the podcast this time, too. He kind of set us up. But, maybe next time we can get all of us together.
We'll run it back. We'll bring BK.
Yeah.
We'll bring Drew.
Yeah.
We'll do it again. I very much appreciate the opportunity, man. Very grateful to get on here with you. And I already trained today, but judging by the looks of the place, I got to come back one day.
Oh,
and train too,
100%.
Yeah.
Let me know when you want to come back. Always welcome. Get a good workout in either location, obviously. But, man, we'll wrap it up there. You guys want to find Fuel Hunt, Instagram probably?
Yeah, you can join the Fuel Hunt community at Fuel Hunt on Instagram, or you can check us out, fuelhunt.com. And on our site, there's also a jump link to Daily Attack Plan, dailyattackplan.com. You can check that out too.
Nice. Hell yeah. Thanks again, man.
All right,
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, man. All right, guys, that's all we got for this one. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notifications bell, comment, like, share. Do all the damn things, please. We'll see you in the next one.